Hey there everyone, before we get to the video, a quick announcement. I'm actually going to be streaming on Twitch here, Sunday, September 28th. I'll have a little bit more info about that at the end of the video, so stay tuned till then. Hey there Exo Farmers, hope you've been having a good time growing your crops. It's been a long 100 days here on my farm, and well, I have some tips I want to share with you. Before I get to that, however, I want to remind everyone to please like and subscribe, and comment if you have anything you want to know more about, or to find something interesting in the video. It really helps me out as a small content creator to know what you find interesting or at least confusing in my videos. Please be sure to let me know. The last thing I want to do is cause any confusion. Now, let's get to it. I decided to touch on 10 things that were really important to me, at least when it came to learning this game. They are in no particular order, so if something seems more important to you, please let me know, or at least mention it in the comments. First up on the list is location. Now with the larger map, there's plenty of places to set up your farm, and well, there's definitely a lot of pluses and minuses to a few of them. I may later do a video on the locations that I think would be a good spot to start up, but that's neither here nor there, so let's get started. When it comes to finding a good location in the game, you want to consider a couple things. Mostly, where is water, where is the space to build and farm, as well as where are the resources going to be relative to you. Trust me, nothing's worse than having to go half a mile just to get some copper in the early game, or being surrounded by a bunch of those floaters as they drift on by constantly. Now I may have a bias, but the outset grasslands are probably the best place to set up an initial farm, but you know, Frost Peak Ridge is pretty good as well. I recommend these two mostly because there's large bodies of water nearby, and rivers flowing through each one. But if you're willing to brave the gauntlet and have very little resources initially, especially early game, you can definitely set up in the Hexagon Valley as well. In my opinion, there's no bad spots to set up, however there are definitely spots that are a bit more friendly to starting up early. Keep in mind you're definitely going to be there a lot, so you might as well like the spot you set up at. That being said, you are able to set up multiple locations, so if you find another spot you really like and you have the resources, you can definitely build another outpost right there. That actually ties nicely into my second point. Don't be afraid to explore the map. There are literally tons of things to find out there, not only from seeds and new plants, but also resources as well as finding all the alien runes scattered about and what happened to them. It's actually a pretty interesting story. One that I can't spoil for you, unfortunately. The main appeal of exploring the runes, however, is definitely the stuff you unlock from them. From unique furniture as well as just general use for the items that you get from the floaters as well. That, and if you can find the vault, oh man, you're in for a real interesting story. But archaeology isn't why we're here. We're here for farming, aren't we? So let's get back to that. One of our major goals is to grow crops that supply to nearby colonies, and well, eventually what they ask for can become kind of crazy, especially if you've been keeping your farm decently small up till now. However, in my previous video, I did mention how you can rotate your crops to maximize certain yields. And well, that's exactly what we're going to do. I would always recommend trying to grow your crops to utilize high yield or mutated plants. And the reason for that is, you just naturally produce more when you focus on high yield crops, and you can definitely produce more seeds with mutated crops as well. And that really is going to be the main part of what you're going to be doing, is making seeds and harvesting what you get. I neglected to mention in my crop rotation video, however, but the plants you plant will actually change the soil as they grow, especially after you harvest them. So definitely don't be afraid to rotate them crops. I'd also recommend regulating the growth of your farm just to ensure that you have enough time to water your crops as well as do anything else you want to do with the day, including exploring or just simply building. Nothing's worse, in my opinion, than having a huge plot of land ready to go, and leaving it empty just because you realized you didn't have enough time to set it up properly. Trust me, I'm speaking from experience. Worse still is when you have that plot of land set up and ready to go, but you just forget to water and all the plants you put in there died, all because you forgot to water it. Speaking of watering, it's always good to make sure that your mech is set up to water just about everything, as well as upgraded to, handle every task you have on the farm, from harvesting to watering to chopping down trees to moving rocks, the list goes on. And with upgrades, that list not only gets bigger, it also gets a lot easier to handle those tasks. Two major upgrades that I would always recommend would be increasing your water capacity or water efficiency in some way, doesn't matter how, and upgrading the seed shooter to have lock-on, because nothing says farming in the future like ballistic seed dispersal, which just sounds fun. And oh boy, it really is fun. It's satisfying too. And in a recent patch, blasting seeds of the floaters actually does something for once. There's also multiple transform modes which actually help out with just about everything from harvesting to mobility to setting up new plots, and well, honestly I would always recommend having at least one loadout with these all equipped. Just keep in mind the mech's power limits because that will decide what you can actually equip on the thing in the first place. If you watch my watering video, you know that there's one type of weather pattern that I really enjoy, and that's rain, because it allows you to basically not have to worry about watering your crops and actually set up new plots and have them be freshly watered and ready to go right off the jump. And if you're using drones, it gives those little guys a break. They need it too. That being said, we ain't in Kansas anymore, but no one seemed to have told the tornadoes that, so you better watch out for them. However, I always personally recommend exploring when it's raining, just because you don't have to worry about watering your crops at all, and that opens up a lot of your time to do so. But now let's say you get back from a good trip exploring and you found a lot of cool stuff, and well, you want to store it somewhere. You're going to use the resources later. Well, this is actually important too, because in your farm, all the storage is actually shared technically. Yes, you may have a specific spot you put all your rocks or all your wood that you get from expeditions out, but as you build, it actually becomes available to you as long as you're in your farm's area, as kind of a cloud type of deal. This solves the problem of how you store it, but now you have to worry about actually going out and getting more of it later, especially if you use it all up. This little storage trick is actually pretty great when it comes to production as well, mostly because you don't have to move everything over to the production area. You can just keep it in a storage unit as you walk into your base, and still have full access to it. Speaking of production, however, it always is a good idea to put a roof over everything you produce, because every time it produces something, it actually has a chance of doubling the items produced if it has a roof over it. I don't know why, it just works out that way. And well, I would always encourage you to do it, especially if you have something you need to mass produce, like seeds from your mutant crops, or anything else you deem worthy of being put inside the house. Well, at least in a shed or something like that. You can honestly never go wrong with putting anything under there, especially if you go there a lot to actually produce things from it. Looking at you, smelters. And last but certainly not least, building decorations, because you have a farm, you might as well actually make it look like one, right? And believe it or not, they actually have a benefit if you build enough of them. It actually upgrades certain bonuses as well as just, making your farm actually look nice and presentable. I would always recommend building decorations regardless, it ranges from fences, scarecrows, lanterns, the list goes on. You can never go wrong just putting down something there. It all eventually adds up anyways, so I'd say just put something down. I hope you enjoyed the video. If there's anything you want me to go over, please let me know in the comments. Thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. If you are curious about when I'll be streaming, it should be posted right up here. Also what channel you need to look at. And hopefully with more subscribers here on YouTube, I'll be able to go live here as well soon. I'm going to set up a poll with the first pinned comment. If you see an option you like, please give it a like and we'll see who gets the most votes. And I can't wait to see you on the live stream. Hope you guys have a good one.